What is up, guys? Ripley Gamer here, doing a Sims 4 cemetery build in Forgotten Hollow, where Fledermaus Bend used to be. This is on a save, which is basically a full world rebuild. So I've demolished every lot in the game, except for the chalet, the ruins, and the bluffs in Windenburg. Every lot has been demolished, and I've been doing new builds. I've demolished all the apartments and the penthouses in San Myshuno, and basically it's just this world rebuild is just like a chance for me to make the worlds my way, essentially. And I've done like a lot of houses, and I've got my boyfriend to help me out with some houses, and we've kind of collaborated on some things. One thing we have done is we collaborated and built a really cool sim lab together. I do want to rebuild the hospital and the police station because I feel like I want to include those two in the build. But one interesting fact is that I'm planning to basically do a series with this world once it's finished. There's a lot of lots to go though, so I feel like I might have to do a series later down the line with it, but maybe start up a different series using a lot of the lots, like community lots that I've made. Like, I've got like some really cool nightclubs, I made a really cool gym, I've got this spa that I really enjoyed making, and I really want to use them all in a series. So I might have to redo a lot of the lots to put them in just a different series build. But for this episode, I was making a cemetery because I wanted to do a cemetery in Forgotten Hollow for a while, or like some kind of church where I could bury my Sims once they've died. Because I feel like when you lose Sims and they die, there's not really anywhere you can put them. There's there isn't really a place for your Sims to rest in peace. You just end up having to put them in your back garden essentially, and nobody buries their relatives in their back garden, at least not in reality, as far as I know. So I watched Della Gracie do a really cool Windenburg cemetery build, and I really liked the way she did it. So I decided I was going to make sort of emulate the style she made, but do it in Forgotten Hollow and use a lot more of the vampire stuff, because when she made that, the vampire pack hadn't come out yet, but it's still good. So I made like a little opening bit, and now I'm working on like a mausoleum here that I actually had a really fun idea that inspired it. That inspired the design of it. And what I like about making this build was I actually enjoyed the freedom to kind of not exactly make everything so symmetrical and deal with a kind of like restrictions on where like buildings would be placed. Because I feel like when you're building things, you have to make buildings, and a lot of things have to be symmetrical because otherwise it just doesn't look right. And that's one thing that kind of I wish I could work with a little bit more. So here I'm making like the front of the mausoleum. I've got those really nice romantic garden columns and just like some stairs. And I was using the vampire bricks because I thought those looked really well. Because they're really nice brick colours as well, like that nice grey. And then I thought with marble, because this is kind of like, this is a nice upscale cemetery because it's in Forgotten Hollow. Like, it's a small village hamlet, and there's a creepy castle. We actually replaced Vlad's house with Castle Ravenloft that my boyfriend made. I'm actually gonna just put goddamn what's his face from Curse of Strahd. I've actually got the book on me. In Castle Ravenloft, hang on, trying to get the book out, but Castle Strahd is Strahd von Zarovich, Curse of Strahd. I'm gonna put Strahd von Zarovich in that house. So we were making this this tomb, and I thought to myself, I want it to be dedicated to someone. And of course, they had that lovely painting of the woman from the vampire pack. And what I liked about that is how, she's really pretty, and she's got like the flowers, so there's like a nice innocence about her. So we put like the really nice gilded coffin in there. And I actually kind of got inspired by Castlevania a bit, because the show on Netflix is so good. And I decided that this was going to be dedicated to Dracula's wife kind of thing. Like, this is a tomb that was dedicated to a lovely woman who was killed horribly, and he's grieving her loss, so instead of going to destroy humanity, he decides to build this mausoleum and build this cemetery in her honor, essentially. And I found this stump, and I just wanted to use it because it's such a cool little magic stump. I do have a lot of CC. I used to have tons of furniture CC and I never use it because most of it, while it looked nice, I just never figured out a use for it. I'm more into the cosmetic and sim design side of it, so my sims just look a little more cooler. And so I went to, and I was actually looking for, I'm spending like a bit of time here because I can't find where where the flowers that you get as a reward for a wedding ceremony is in. And I was like, where the hell is it? I was looking through it all. I might have been in the plants actually, so I typed, I went through unlocks, and I think I ended up finding, did I end up finding it? I think I did, yeah, I found it in the full bloom centerpiece. And I thought this was going to be a beautiful little like tomb, and I was gonna have like a little plaque. So, like, this is the resting place of said woman, and I remember her name is she's Lisa, I think is her name in Castlevania, Dracula's second wife, who has Alucard, and she's like in the story she's killed by she's burnt as a witch, which is quite sad. So I figured I will give her something a bit nicer, like a nicer resting place than what Castlevania gives her, with a little bit of it's a tragic story, but make it give her a bit of a nicer resting place. And I put these little death llamas in, and they're quite cute. Okay, and then I'm like figuring out where everything is gonna go, and so I'm starting to put the trees, and I put these nice little trees here. I think they're pine trees of some kind, because you see these kind of trees in cemeteries, and there's actually a cemetery back home that it's a really old churchyard next to a church that I remember going to a lot as a kid for various reasons. I never actually went to church on the Sunday kind of thing, but we would go there for, like, when I was a kid and I was doing like nativity plays and playing an angel kind of thing and reading the story of Jesus. And it was one of those things, we go to church in the evening, and I love this tree. This tree, I feel like I don't use it a lot. The only other lot I've used it on is my outdoor cinema, which I really enjoyed making for that one. Oh god. And so I just grab a bunch of romantic garden stuff to put down, just like, here's the things I'm going to down. I put those statues down, that little like wall-side fountain, because I think that's actually pretty cool. Then I grab some of the vampire stuff, and I'm going through, and and I wanted that statue because I figured that, and grabbed those urns. And I just like start utilizing it, making everything a bit nicer to look at, start playing around with the color scheme, because like Forgotten Hollow is like actually quite a nice area, and it's actually like, I feel like it's underused a lot because it's only 5 lots, and it's like mostly houses, and I just like, because I love the vampire pack, but I feel like I don't use it a lot. I don't have a lot of vampires, and I don't really use my vampires a lot because like the game will generate NPCs, and here I am making like a fun little, trying to do like some little ponds just around it. Like, the idea was to make a pond next to 2 ponds next to it with like a kind of bridge over it, and you can't do bridges in the game. Oh yeah, I turned the way I designed that was quite funny, so I turned it around, I turned the camera around, and my boyfriend was next to me at the time, like, doing works, and I think he was doing D&D, like, building stuff, so I just show up, and it's like, look, I made a cat in the pond, and that was unintentional, but I think it's such a cute little design, I didn't even, like, realise until I'd done it. Got this cute little cat pond, and of course, like, I make it look quite nice. It's like, you know, like the brackish water. I think I was going with the jungle theme, and then just like filling it up with like algae and some lily pads and wild grass, just to make it look a little more like it's overgrown. Like, yeah, this place is looked after by like a caretaker who lives around like Forgotten Hollow somewhere in like a secret lot, and you can see he tends to it quite well. Like, this place, people tend to it, people look after it. Maybe Dracula himself looks after it. And I just like this idea of the pond, because like Della Gracie's cemetery build was really inspiring, and I adore a lot of the stuff she does. She does some like really good builds as the Sims Play, and they're like the main 2 I watch for lot building. So I go to them and I look at what they build to get some inspirations for how I'm going to design some kind of what themes I should go with it, because I've made a lot of like lots by myself, and I design them by myself. My boyfriend will help me out, the disembodied voice, who most of you might have heard in the Stardew Valley. video. He'll help me out, give me some ideas. I point out where I should put things. He actually did help me out with the grass and stuff, because I couldn't figure out, like, I wanted to do like a pathway, but I needed to color, like, paint over the ground terrain so it looked a bit better. And I just make these like flowers look quite nice. Those romantic garden flowers are actually really nice. I feel like I need to utilize a lot more of like the wildness and greenery, because I feel like I don't use it a lot. There's a lot of things in this game, like I've got so many packs. I have every pack in the game, and while there's loads more packs I want, I feel like I don't utilize them. I did want to utilize that, so I just throw these guys over here just to get them out the way while I can sort of work on this. And I get an idea to make a small platform to raise up the statue. Kind of like, it's not only just her tomb they've dedicated her to, but also she's like the woman in the statue is is Lisa. And you can, like, I put it like right in front of the wishing well, because to make it just a little bit. And I love that marble. There, I did try and see if I could make it white, and then I just decided to go back to black because it looked better. And I changed it to evening, get an idea of how it was gonna look. Just added, like, put the stone. I like the stone bench from Romantic Garden stuff. I feel like that works more for these kind of places. And I did have to make this I made it a generic lot. I did want to make it a national park, but you got to put a trash can and a grill down, and I didn't really want to use those. And there's really no other ways to make specific kind of parks. So I sort of made this little area sort of like a family plot, essentially. You've got like the kind of plots where, because I put placeholder gravestones from the vampire pack down, so I could just get an idea of where Sims are going to be buried in the future. And what I liked about you doing that was it allowed me to kind of get an idea of how, because this is quite a small lot, this is 30 by 30, but this could be like the lot for Forgotten Hollow, and then I could maybe make a Windenburg cemetery. And I definitely want to make one for Newcrest, because I don't have a lot in Newcrest currently. I've just got like a small corner which has a pumpkin patch generic lot, and some sort of like fantasy inspired houses. There's a hobbit hole in the witch's house, and that's really all that's there currently. So I made like these two, like a family plot, and this was like for an old couple, like who'd lived together like 100 years. They've been together 100 years kind of thing, and they'd like lived a long rich life, and they decided to be buried next to each other in this cemetery. And I quite like these vampire gravestones. They all look a bit the same, but they actually work really well in the setting, and I feel like these are good to use for like generic family plot stones. And I could have used debug to unlock some gravestones, but I feel like these will work as like older ones. Like these guys have been here a long time. They were there like at least 2 centuries prior to the one. I just grabbed like a bunch of gravestones just to make it make this one like a little bit of a family plot over here, just to get an idea of like this will be like a generic idea of where these stones are gonna go. And of course I'm putting down all this knowing like in a second I'm gonna realise my mistake of not painting the terrain over fully and then having to paint it over. And then I put him in the pond because I thought that'd be kind of cool to put the statue in the pond, and it works quite well for that statue. Now I'm just like zooming up and around trying to figure out where I'm going. Then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put a path down. Oh wait, no, that's not right. And then I realised my problem, and then with my boyfriend's advice, he starts saying, no, don't do like the outside bit around on the outside of the lot. So start again to get. So I got that square one actually works really well. I haven't actually used the terrain tools since we got it. I'm not very good at using like geographical changes in the game, so I haven't really used the terrain lots much. I know my boyfriend used it so he can build a moat for Castle Ravenloft, which is pretty cool build. I let him do all that by himself while I went off to do, can't remember what else I was doing that, but he was like building that, and I think I was off doing other things, and he actually did a really good job on it. And like I kind of fix it, and then I start like making little, just use like the square bit to make it a bit neater, and then I start like going around, like you got the path here, and then you got this path, and that connects over here, and this one going over to the nice benches. And then I remember I got to get over to the mausoleum, and then I sort of go down there, but then I figure that doesn't work, so we make it go full circle around the statue, and then we kind of just like paint that bit away, just make it a little bit smoother. And then I go back and start putting all the grave patches back in after just all them being like taken off. And then we put some benches over here because we need like another bench over here to make it look just a little like we need more places to sit down. This is also like not just a cemetery to mourn your loved ones, but this is also like a nicer area to come and sit down, maybe to take someone on a date if you're like, you know, a goth maybe, like kind of maybe Mortimer can take Bella Goth here on a date. And then I put like another, like I put 2 gravestones over here as like another like symbol of a couple. Although I do realise that putting the statue there does take away from the wall fountain. And then I start putting these back over and they look quite good. That's like a small like patch of kind of an idea of where things are going to go, and then fix that up, which is all good. And it starts to look quite good, and then I just go in here to show off like this is the mausoleum. Then you got this corner here, and then I start thinking of a wedding arch. So I start adding like some extra trees in, and then I get an idea because I'm looking over like what sort of like place can this be, like, so because generic lots are good, but no one goes to the generic lots. You can only send your sims there, so generic lots a bit better for like club meetups and stuff, but not really for like having sims meet up and stuff. That's why my pumpkin patch is one of the generic lots, because that was more of a community garden. So I put a wedding arch here because I figured perhaps Dracula and Lisa got married here. Like this beautiful little patch of like this really nice little cemetery, because I'm pretty sure there are people who've had like outdoor ceremonies, and you know when you have a wedding in a church and then you go outside to take pictures, and then you've got like the odd gravestones in the background. So we make it like this nice little like this tiny little like, you know, family and friends only kind of wedding venue. And then I put this down. Dan, my boyfriend, kind of got the carpets and rugs mixed up. And I said, because he said to put down carpet, so I put down carpet, but he was talking about the vampire rug, this one. So I put that down, and that's actually a little bit better as like a wedding kind of rug, I guess is the way to put it. Then I put those the romance festival petals down. It's kind of like they threw them over the brides and groom after the wedding, and I thought it actually looked quite nice. And then we just kind of like concentrate it around the front because that was where they were throwing it all, and it looks actually very pretty. So I add like more of those roses in full bloom, centerpiece roses, because they look really nice. So it adds like a little bit more of it adds like a nice bit of charm to this. And then I start putting down all the lights, because you need to have some kind of light in this place. I put those lights here and here just to light up the wedding arch, here to light up the way into the cemetery, and I do put some at the back. And then I figure like you don't need to light up the whole area, because I feel like it needs to be like dingy and dark just a little bit. I do light up this bit so you know there's some light for the venue, for the mausoleum, so you can see it. And then I just take off these ones because I realised like I don't need all these lights. And the tree in the corner from the movie stuff actually lights up the corner anyway. And then I get a bit confused on what the name was, so I was like asking my boyfriend to give me a name. I was like, what's the name of this place? And like, what's the name of Dracula's wife in Castlevania? So he gives me the name, and I come up with the name of Lisa Lunafell Cemetery, because it's a very like Lisa, the woman from Castlevania, Dracula's wife who he loves. And then Lunafell sounded really like, I guess, gothic in a way, because Luna and moonlight, Forgotten Hollow vampires, the darkness, the night, and it sounded like, so I made it Vampire Nexus and Haunted as well, so you can have some ghosts hanging around. And Lisa Lunafell Cemetery, built and dedicated to the wife of famed vampire Dracula, who was burned at the stake for witchcraft. I hope supernatural will come, because that will make this story a little bit more tragic. She's survived by her son Alucard, who I might put into this build. Just have him there and make him kind of sad because his mother was burnt at the stake for being a witch. And then I just add in the things. And I did have some trouble trying to connect it in, but this is my Lunafell cemetery. You can find it on the gallery, and if you enjoy this, I might do some more builds. So thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!